Today was the big reveal for the Pokemon Presents, but there's a ton of stuff that you guys missed, and don't be worried, I missed it too, but we're definitely going to Unova soon. Let's dive in. All right, so I got a lot to cover today. Let's just jump in. We've got the reveal of Perrin, who's the new photographer. It's pretty clear that this person is related to Adaman from Pokemon Legends Arceus. Some people are thinking that maybe there's a tie-in to Irida as well, but nonetheless, we're speculating that there's a Legends Arceus tie-in here with the new character, Perrin, the new female character. Then, of course, we've got Diplin, which some people were confused. This is actually an additional evolution to Applin, which is pretty dope. It's actually two little dragon heads in one. One's the head that pops out, and then there's another Applin dude inside it that has the tail, which is kind of funky. But it's grass and dragon. It has a new ability called Super Sweet Syrup. Super Sweet Syrup is a new ability that lowers the evasiveness of opposing Pokemon when Diplin enters the battle. That could be one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen. And it does have a new signature move as well that is going to drop the speed stat of opposing Pokemon for a couple turns. In case you missed it, Ekans has a brand new slithering animation, which they brought back. Obviously, BDSP, it had like a really bad one, so now we've got the new upgraded one again. Chimecho was shown at a stall. We're speculating based on the Riddler that there could be an opportunity for a new evolution for Chimecho, so that's something worth noting there. We saw Ogerpon's new form. I'll talk about this later in the video, but we know that now the little turtle homie, Terapagos, is actually a Terastal form. The baby Terapagos and the big one are the same Pokemon, but it's his Terastal form. Ogerpon's got like a Terastal form too. So there's a lot of theories and thoughts about Ogerpon right now. Like maybe it's actually the human kid and kind of gets wrapped up in terastalization or something to that effect. But it does seem as though that there are going to be these new Terastal forms for Pokemon, which is something that the Riddler had talked about pretty extensively. So keep an eye out on that. Now like the floodgates are open now with Terapagos. Okidoki, Munkidori, and Fezandipity all use new moves. This could be a kind of indicator of what their secondary typing is. Based on their ability Toxic Chain, we're expecting them all to be poison types. And based on these images, I think Okidoki could be grass type, Munkidori may be psychic type, and Fezandipity could be water type, although that may be a little bit of a stretch. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. Some people are speculating potentially fairy there, but we do have at least a little bit more indication based on these moves on what typings these Pokemon may actually have. I thought this was interesting. There was a lesson that they were teaching about different type advantages, so you can kind of see that. We'll see how much that plays in. Obviously, types are going to be pretty important with Terapagos seemingly representing all the different types on its back, so there may be some important mechanics there where you're going to need to really brush up on your type chart. Here's a big one. They revealed a character named Drayton, and if you guys didn't catch the drift on this one, this is most certainly someone related to Drayton, the gym leader in Black and White in the Unova region, the kind of the dragon gym leader outside of Iris. So they called him lackadaisical, but he's a force to be reckoned with in battle. He doesn't seem to go to class often, and he has had to repeat a year 3 times already. But again, very much so pointing to Drayton. And one of the things Riddler Q had said in one of his riddles or posts is that, you know, in the DLCs, they really hammer in hard on the connections of these characters to this other region, and now we're starting to think it's probably Unova. So we're probably going to see a lot of kind of tie-ins and connections to Unova as we not only go through this trailer, but as we start to play the DLCs. I think we're going to see a lot of things that point towards that game and kind of the next Pokemon game in the franchise. One thing I did want to mention, they talk about these League Club rooms that you could decorate, kind of like a secret base. You can change your character's Pokeball style. You can use the computer to ultimately donate blueberry points, which you use in the academy to get different things. You can redecorate your room and kind of have some customization there. I think that's pretty cool. The Pokeball style is a thing that came in Alola and they brought it back. These are things that, like, I'm excited they're coming in the DLC, but like the fact that they're packaged with DLC is kind of like a feels bad, man. Like, these were in the actual games before. They take them out and they put them back as a DLC, but that's just kind of how it works nowadays. It does talk about that you can see familiar faces as well in the Blueberry Academy. So they show the Bug Gym Leader coming out and kind of hanging out with them. You can take some pictures with them. You can battle with them. And it even says you'll be able to trade Pokemon with them, and you might see a side of them you hadn't seen before. So this seems like they're going to add to some of the lore with these gym leaders. The trading part is actually quite interesting. There is a flying minigame that has these Magnemites holding up these circles. It does seem as though, from what I read, that you're going to be able to gather this new flying ability with your Koraidon and Miraidon. It's going to be a permanent ability that you'll unlock. So this may actually increase our exploration across the region, being able to free fly. We'll see kind of what that looks like in the DLC, but it does seem as though that could be something we have. We've got this new Pokemon, Archaludon, which is the evolved form of Duralodon. I know a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, Eviolite Duraludon, and myself included, right? I was like, oh, that could be kind of sick. But this thing is most certainly based on a bridge, and a lot of people are speculating that it could be based on the Driftveil drawbridge, or one of the other bridges around Unova. And actually, if you guys don't know, Unova has a ton of bridges, so the fact that Duralodon basically goes from a skyscraper to like this crazy bridge-looking dude, pretty heavy connection there to Unova again. Not just that, but obviously the connection with Drayton there. It has stamina and sturdy for its ability. Stamina is really solid, like that's a really good ability. And it's got a new move called Electro Shot, which is a special move that raises Archaludon's special attack. When it's raining, it can be used without charging. So I think it's kind of like Meteor Beam, right? Where you like charge it and then the next turn you hit it. If you're using it in rain though, like you just get to boost your special attack and then nuke something, which is pretty bonkers all things considered. And then like, when you consider one of the best ways to deal with a dragon type or like steel types is water types, just because they generally are pretty bulky, they have ice type moves, they resist, like this thing's gonna be able to bop them with Electro Shot and Rain. So that's gonna be pretty bonkers in my opinion. So when you get to the Blueberry League Terrarium, each biome is gonna be occupied by a different member of the Blueberry League Elite Four. So there's gonna be these different characters that they kind of, you know, tossed our way. Amaris, Crispin, and of course I had mentioned, you know, kind of Drayton and so on and so forth. So we kind of have this like new Elite Four in a way. Obviously the Indigo Disc DLC, the Blueberry Academy part of it, is going to be a little bit more battle focused. And the first one is probably going to be a little bit more adventure lore focused, which is what they did for Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra. So it's not surprising to see that. The next two things that got the internet by storm is Raging Bolt and Iron Crown, which are paradox forms for Raikou and Cobalion. Raging Bolt, in my opinion, has grown on me quite a bit. It looks pretty sweet. It's basically a giraffe, but it's really just based on a long neck dinosaur. But I do like how its like mane kind of curls around its neck like a thundercloud. That's pretty sick. I'm not as big of a fan of Iron Crown. I do feel like the past Scarlet forms do generally look better. I just want to see Entei now, by the way. Like, that's all I'm looking for. Raging Bolt is sick. I would say I like it more than the Wake Pokemon, Suicune's form, but I do find it to be pretty sweet. I mentioned earlier, but the baby Terrapagos form is actually just regular Terrapagos. It's a Terrestrial form, and that does open the kind of the door for a lot of opportunities in the future about like what we could see from the game, the different forms that they could be introducing through, you know, Charizard getting a new form, or Ogerpon getting a new form, or any of these different Pokemon getting new forms through the Terrestrial mechanic, which, again, something that's been teased at, and I think we're probably going to see in the DLC. There's a new teacher called Miss Briar. She's a teacher at the Blueberry Academy. She's in charge of a school trip that you're embarking on. One thing that's very worth noting about her is that her outfit does have these different icons on them that are actually located on the logo for Scarlet and Violet itself, and a lot of people have speculated, like, what do these icons mean? Like, why are they on this logo? Is it pointing towards something? And Miss Briar actually has them on her outfit. So there's a lot of speculation right now that she is like maybe an evil character, or she has some sort of ulterior motive. But I have a feeling that Miss Briar is actually going to be pretty significant in the storyline just based on that connection alone. One of the things that'll be cool is when you do explore Kitakami, they're going to have the orienteering during your school trip. So they're going to have you explore the land. You have to look for these different signboards that are going to depict stories of Kitakami's oldest folktales. So it seems as though there's going to be a lot of lore and story-driven stuff in these DLCs, which I think are actually always quite nice. We mentioned this in our reaction, but you're going to be able to do the Ogre Ousting, which will give you those different Mokis. You can use those to reset base points of your Pokemon stats. This may be a more efficient way to EV train your Pokemon if you can utilize these and gather them very quickly. I still feel like the EV system is archaic in the Pokemon franchise, so anything they can do to speed it along and help players, I think is going to be a win. And they made some serious improvements to taking pictures with your Pokemon. You can even like direct them to stop moving and things like that, so you can get the proper frame and the proper pose that you want to actually take. So obviously there was a lot to uncover, but the signs and hints are definitely pointing towards Unova in our near future. Until then, we know we have this DLC coming in September, and then the other one coming probably, you know, a few months after that. But a lot of really cool information today. I was really excited after kind of taking a little bit of time to digest the new Raikou form. I quite like that. I think the Applin looks really cool. I'm a big fan of Applin's line, so knowing it gets a new evolution is pretty dope. The Archaludon is one of the ones I'm a little iffy on, but I do like the tie-in to the bridges in Unova, so we'll see how that all plays out. I think we're gonna get a lot more references to the, you know, our Gen 5 as we kind of develop this out and we get more information about the DLC. I've got some spicy videos coming for you guys tomorrow, so keep an eye out. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you guys are new, and thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you think we missed anything in the comments as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.